Man, every time I see this picture, it makes my stomach turn. This here, folks, is one of the probably um, oldest symbols of feminism. I don't know if that's second wave, third wave, I don't know, but definitely one of the waves of feminism that came about. It's all garbage, basically, at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned. It's cancer, and it is an unsustainable ideology and a system that, to be honest, was promoted by the government. The woman you see on the left is Gloria Steinem, and she is considered to be like the godmother of feminism, so to speak. Which basically I think she started around the 1940s, which she was also a CIA operative, which of course they don't talk about that. And what they also don't talk about is that feminism was actually funded by the CIA. We're talking about an organization that worked with Nazi war criminals after the Second World War up until the 1990s. So keep that in mind when you think about the term feminazi. Okay. Then you have this black woman here on the right who I don't even know what her name is, but she is definitely a symbol of what black women bought into, lock, stock, and barrel. And the amazing part about it is there was never a reason for them to actually join in on this ideology because at the end of the day, black men have never had the power to oppress black women. So, there's never been a black patriarch in this country, ever, never, ever, ever been that. I mean, feminism basically started out with white women in the first place, with white suffragettes, which were quite racist. At least a high majority of them, which again they don't talk too much about that. But you'll have Gloria Steinem here claim that she learned feminism from black women in 2016. Yeah, I mean, boy, talk about one of the biggest lies ever told. I mean, just a lot of false intel. Apparently she must be still getting paid by some government entities to still be a symbol of this nonsense. And at the end of the day, what has feminism done? Well, let's see, it's helped destroy the nuclear family. Um, it has created this dynamic where women um, don't want to be traditional mothers or housewives. Well, some do, but of course, with feminism, the feminists break their neck to shame the women who want to be traditional mothers and housewives and say, you're setting us back. Like as if decisions they make with their individual lives should affect what decisions they make with theirs. Yeah, because that just goes to show you that if feminism was never about equality, it certainly isn't about freedom. Okay? They claim to be about choice, but yeah, the choice that they want you to take. Well, I'll say this much here. You know, feminism obviously has eroded society in such a way that, I mean, really, it can only have an adverse consequence, and it is already because you got a bunch of feminized boys and males that half don't even know how to tie their own shoelace. You know, and really, we are just degrading. We're looking at such social decadence that it's unsustainable. It's unsustainable. All right, we're below replacement birth levels. People don't want to get married. You know, women are more worried about having an abortion, which is amazing because they're the same one saying that it's my body, my choice. But the funny part about it is, what they're really saying is that you know you don't even have a man doesn't have any rights really to his own child. That's kind of an indirect way of what they're saying because it's funny because when you say my body, my choice, what you're saying is that when a man and a woman lay down, she has full custody of what the results are of that intercourse that they may have had at a certain time that caused her to be pregnant. But what it does is it makes the man's contribution um, almost insignificant, other than the fact that now the woman basically, it's basically when the sperm leaves the man's body, enters hers, she takes custody of his sperm, and he still gets the bill, but she gets custody of the child. And you know, what do you got from that? You basically let women know that basically that the man, you what you've done is you made the man insignificant. You created. It's the irony of feminism is that for as much as they complain about misogyny, feminism is so much about misandry. It's not even funny. It makes men insignificant, other than to be servants to a gynocratic order. And then what it does is it puts men in a position where they're automatically seen as threats of of being monsters, cretins, sexual abusers, preemptive abusers of all types. And then you create laws around that mindset. That the whole Duluth model thing. Look it up. DULUTH model. Look it up. And I'll probably talk more about that in the future. But ultimately, this feminism has, I would say for the most part, has been promoted by the government to go this far. Because in all honesty, feminism only survives because it has to be funded. It's not something that's sustainable by itself. It's not. It's not. It has to be promoted. It has to be pushed. It's not a natural occurrence. It really isn't. It's something that the powers that be decided was a good tool to tamp down the masses. And to basically create this gender war to keep men and women divided. That's what it's done. I mean, really, like, you have, high suicide rates amongst young men now. I mean, really, you just pretty much created a society where their natural propensities has been turned into something bad. Toxic masculinity, which really all that means is if you're a man who's, you know, behaves in naturally masculine behavior that goes against the machine, then you're toxic. In other words, you're going against the agenda they're trying to push. So that's called toxic. So that's toxic masculinity. It's another sign that a way of trying to social engineer you and give you this psychobabble to get you to fall in line. This is how sick this whole situation, this whole system is. You created a social cancer where you use to weaponize against the males in the society, and ultimately to give women a false sense of power and give the men this false sense of inferiority. So please explain to me how that's somehow not sexist. I mean, feminism is full of contradictions, man. Full of contradictions and hypocrisy. And ultimately, because it's a basically you could say it's like a military strategy at the end of the day. And you know, the downside is when you do something like this, it's gonna have drawbacks. Because what you do is when you actually need the men to fight, they're not gonna be able to because you feminize them to death. I mean, you really. I mean, look, our testosterone levels are down. Society has just become so pathologized that I mean by this kind of stuff here. I mean they want to blur the lines between genders with this whole, I get to not be a man or woman if I don't want to. I get to be non-binary because somehow, gender is a social construct. I mean things have just gotten so perverse that you can only know that there's going to be some massive consequences for this. But all I can say is we may just have to watch Rome burn, guys. Well, best thing to do is stay away from the fire. You know, don't participate, and then let them see what happens. You know, I'm not saying don't date. I'm not saying don't get married, but I can tell you, marriage definitely probably not the best choice for most men. There's really nothing. What they've done to marriage in this country, they've really made it. It's like there's really no benefit for a man getting married. There really isn't. You have more to lose than to ever to gain. And truth be told, what they've done this to most of Western society. So at the end of the day, you know, they made Western women really into, you know, um, to menaces at this point. They've created a menacing society of women. That's what they've done. And nothing good can come from this. Nothing good can come from it. But as long as they think they can be in control or they can maintain a sense of power, they're going to try to keep doing it because we've got a world being ran by mostly sociopaths and psychopaths. And ultimately, guys, all I can say is you just got to be careful. And sometimes that might not be enough, but at the end of the day, we just have to, you know, men, and I'm not talking about just black men, but black men in particular, but we need to understand our position, and we need to understand that we don't have any friends. We don't have any allies. At the end of the day, we're all we got. And if you got fools out here that still want to be a bunch of male feminists, a bunch of male gynocrats, we need to write those guys off, excommunicate them, and not let them eat at the table with us no more. Let them go over there with them. You know, let them go over there with their buddies. We can't accept that type of treasonous behavior. We just can't. We can't. And if you see that that's the case, you need to move away from those individuals. You know, that's just the bottom line. You just need to not engage in, you know, empowering activities that ultimately they're going to be the ones that are going to be the saboteurs. They're going to be the backstabbers. They're going to be the double agents, and they're not going to be on your side. So, you know, you really, I mean, really, I'm just like, I've been saying for a long time that a lot of the women out these days are not worth having relationships with. They're not, because the mindset has become so devoid of a real level of accountability and, I mean, a sense of duty to something more than themselves. Everything is a me thing. I don't want to have kids. I want to sleep with as many people. I want to right. You got the right to do it, but guess what? You don't have a right to. You don't have a right to um, someone to take away the consequences of your actions. See, that's the thing. They want to do what they want. They don't want any consequences. They don't want any responsibility for their actions. Okay? There's nothing equal about that. Nothing. So that's where this whole myth that feminism is about equality is a big lie. It's nothing but political subterfuge. Because at the end of the day, we have a term for equality. It's called egalitarianism. So why would you call them feminism when the word feminine implies females, women in particular? Well, I'll say this much: feminism is about everything except femininity. That's for sure. Okay, so you know, you we're just gonna have to look at what we're up against, and these men are sitting there saying, "Oh, you know, the women, they're just women." Listen, you fools. Open your eyes, pay attention. Stop trying to pretend that you got power you don't have, and stop trying to act like you're the big man on the street. Because I got news for you. You down low simps. You're just as susceptible and in jeopardy as the rest of us. So get off the get off the fake macho, okay? Because guess what? You're a damn idiot. Get with the program and get honest with yourself. Open your eyes. Stop being a big dummy. Because you know what? You make yourself a detriment. You also make yourself a liability to those of us that want to, engaged in a sense of self-preservation and self-defense. But anyway, I don't want to make this too long of a video, but I just wanted to talk about, you know, make a little statement about feminism. I know I'm not the only person that obviously talks about this stuff, but I wanted to add my 2 cents real quick, because things are just getting ridiculous out here. They've been getting ridiculous. I mean, this is, like I said, guys, we gotta let Rome burn, and at the end of the day, we're gonna have to start really working to force the system to say basically, look, we're not going to participate with certain things if you're not going to change the laws. You're not going to just allow us just to have to be perpetual victims. Because we're really, at the end of the day, we're just people. We're creating a society where men are just sitting ducks, and they've created a situation where this feminism makes women in perpetual victims and professional victims at the end of the day. Okay, to where they don't have to earn anything because I'm the victim. I'm the victim. I don't have enough. And the thing about it is, it just creates a bunch of people who are less accountable than children, grown women. That's a problem. So, anyway, I just wanted to add that little tidbit for now. But again, guys, be careful out here. Don't, you know what I mean? Be careful about who you mess with, who you deal with, whether that be in relationships or the workplace. Okay? Hell, even sometimes within your own family. So be aware. I'm out.